Hello, this is a speedrun tutorial for Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker AI boss battles in New Game Plus speedruns. This is my usual setup for a true ending, and your setup may be different, so we'll cover some alternate strategies. This guide is going to assume you are not using engineering, or at least you did not get engineering crits, and we will start with Pupa. As you load in, you want to shoot the head part to stall the machine, reload the M47, shoot one more time into the pod, switch to the Carl Gustav, shoot the pod again, switch to C4, set them two in front of the pod, run away and open the pod, and then you are done. If you're running just the M47, you'll need 3 shots to destroy it and 1 to open the pod, so you will need the bandana. If you hit somewhere that's not going to stop it from moving, like this pod shot here, you cannot fully destroy it while it's wall riding, so you need to wait until it's fully on the flat ground for the final hit. Like I can show right here, this hit does not destroy it, even though it should, because it was still partly on the wall. Whereas this shot right here will destroy it because it's on flat ground. For Chrysalis, as you load into the fight, be running backwards, lock onto the pod and shoot up left. It will dodge right into the shot, and then immediately switch to the Carl Gustav, put one more shot into the pod, and it will be destroyed. And now it can choose one of 2 spots to land in. For this run, it chose the slower spot. You lose 2 seconds if it lands down in this little lower spot down here, but you want to stand right in between the flowers and the pillar, and you'll be right in position to hit the pod. Now, same thing, an M47 shot and a Carl Gustav to finish the fight. This time it chooses to land at the top of the stairs, right in front of the pyramid thing. And this is the faster way, RNG. We love it. I'm gonna stand right between this broken wall and the other broken wall, and we'll be in great position to hit the pod. If you don't have a second rocket launcher, just reload the M47 and wait until it starts to move to adjust its firing stance to use the railgun, and then it can't dodge when it's in the railgun stance. For Cocoon, run back right as you load in and shoot up left of this Gatling gun. Try to curve the shot around so it hits the head part, the pod, the armor plate, and the Gatling gun all at the same time. And this will put it in the scripted malfunction state. From here, equip the bandana, run around towards this second barricade we see on this pathway, and put 2 more shots into the pod on your way over to ensure you've gotten Cocoon to the lowest possible health it can get to. It locks at, I'm guessing, 1 HP. I like to destroy this armor plate to help with movement once we get on, and then get in the box. Don't be too close to the edge, and box boost 3 times up on, and after the little cutscene, immediately do damage somewhere. If you wait too long, the chainsaw will come out, and then you have to wait for it to go all the way back for the rest of the part to play out. Wait till halfway through the hiss noise to start climbing the ladder, and then you just go up and shoot 1 more shot into the pod. If you can't manage the 1-shot strat, just aim between the head and the pod, or just really low on the pod to hit both of the head and the pod at the same time for a little bit of extra damage, and then the rest of the fight still plays out the same. And this just shows a little bit better of where you want to be when Cocoon hits the wall. Don't be too close, and be kind of like by this little curved section before the barricade. Also, you can see here the chainsaw started to come out, so the rest of the part didn't play out as it was supposed to. And then I touched the ladder here to show if you're too early what'll happen. For Peace Walker Battle 1, it will not take damage until it starts moving, so none of these shots do anything to it, but the next shots will. Let's see, now we get the damage numbers. Sprint to the right side in the box. 3 box boosts will get you in position, and then 3 pod shots will win the battle. As long as you're fairly close behind it, you'll bait the flamethrower attack, which gives you plenty of free time for more shots. If you want to try front side, I don't recommend it, but if you shoot as soon as Miller starts to say supply from this position, you can hit the pod, and then good luck lining up all these other shots. It takes some practice, but it's probably replicable. For the mashing segment, if you get hit, you lose, I think, 1/3 of a second from missiles, and a little more than that from trees. But you also get extra trees, so you don't want to do that. You can kind of judge which way you have to dodge by looking ahead of you in the tree section, but it's usually right, left, right, right, unless you get something screwy with extra trees or whatever. And then you get some more missiles, and then once you hear Peace Walker roar, you're done. Also, turbo is allowed for this section, so that's good. For Peace Walker Battle 2, you'll want either the sneaking suit or the battle dress. Any other outfit will lose you about 22 seconds when it comes to pulling boards, just because the animation is slower for some reason. All we're going to be really using is the M47 for this fight, so we'll need that in the bandana. Hopefully that's all we'll need. If we have a bad run, everything else is backup. On a good fight, we can predict every move Peace Walker will do based on our shot placement and the damage done. So the entire fight is very predictable if you do it right. And I'm going to run through it quickly here without shooting, just to show where you're going to run and take your shots from. Now the first shot will run up to this little cross right here with the white and yellow line. We're going to try to hit this middle section of the leg where it's weaker. And then we'll aim right here as Peace Walker jumps to turn around, and that will lock onto the pod for the second shot. Next we'll lock on to what I assume is the mammal pod. Peace Walker will be faced away from us, but if we hesitate like a very split second after it fully locks on and shoot as it rears up, it goes into the mammal pod. I don't really know how that works, but it works. And from there, we will run next to this light post and aim at this warehouse over here. The pod will come right in front of us as Peace Walker jumps to the middle for another pod shot. Then we run over here to the water. Peace Walker jumps in and we get another free pod shot. Run back by this container here, and if you lock on and shoot as it's coming out of the water, it'll usually do this weird thing where it angles straight up into the pod. It looks kind of ridiculous, but it works. And then we backpedal from here, and as soon as we're done reloading, we shoot about parallel with the ground, and the pod should dip right in front where we're aiming and get hit. And then for the final shot, we'll backpedal a little more, and the pod should be pretty much right above us, right about here. And from here, we'll just run through it for real. The first shot can be kind of tough. If you can lock onto this specific point right here, which I'm pretty sure is the further leg, you can kind of get it more consistently, but usually you'll get one of the joints on the front leg, so you can let go of aim and repress it and then just shoot before it locks on if you can't get this spot. But if you do get this spot, you just aim way left and it'll curve right where you want it. So the whole fight will look kind of like this. That first leg shot, aim for this piece here, get the pod. I like to track it down a little bit, lock onto the mammal pod or reptile pod, and hit it again. Aim for the warehouse, get another pod shot over here by the water, another one, and then back by the container, lock on, and then it didn't really do the crazy thing this time. Shoot without locking on. I missed the pod, but it doesn't matter. Final shot. There we go. And here we have the whole reason to wear sneaking and battle dress. I'll show the fatigues up in the little window, and you can see the animation is significantly slower. To pull the boards as fast as you can, hold the direction you want to move the cursor and keep tapping X, and usually works out. Make sure you start on row C because that's where your character decides to move at the beginning, and pull all the boards. Here's a trick. You can use the cardboard box or the Walkman to block Peace Walker's roar. This is the other way to get the leg shot if you can't lock onto the correct piece. You just let go and aim and shoot before you lock on. It's kind of hard to pull off, but that'll probably be the part that screws up your manip the most. If you do mess up your manip, Peace Walker will lock at 2 bars of health until it attempts to go into this S-mine march position that it does. As soon as it starts to jump over there, it becomes vulnerable again. But if it's mid-attack, like doing something else, you won't be able to destroy it completely until it finishes and then starts the animation for jumping to either side of the map. On the topic of S-mines, when it's doing the little march, you want to shoot just as it's about to settle down with a step. To hit the pod a little more consistently. Just be in front of it and shoot as it lands on each foot. Hopefully you don't see the S-mine march though. If you don't get the manip, the other things that will lose time pretty obviously are if it goes behind the building and if it does EM pulse. If it does EM pulse, a chaff grenade can knock it out of it, as long as it's not in the middle of an attack. And you can also knock it out with a machine gun, shooting the head part until the little pulse stops, and you can sometimes flinch it for more free attacks. But for now, we're going to show the final fight with Peace Walker, Battle 3. For Battle 3, it's really just 2 minutes and 8 or 9 seconds of doing nothing. It's all on a timer. So, have fun.
Do something, Snake!
For Zeke, there's a little bit of setup. You'll either want the Chrysalis head or the Zeke head. I prefer Chrysalis for a few reasons. It makes hitting the weak point a little bit easier, and it also looks cooler, in my opinion. But the weak point is the little mini pod thing on the bottom of the head. It's where the red dot is right now. It takes about 5 shots into that to kill Zeke. We lower Zeke's part health by deploying it in outer ops until it's fairly low. And if you get it down to 1% and you move all of your R&D team to the sick bay, Zeke will only heal 1% per mission, so it'll be at about 33% for the fight. I'm a little off from that here, but it won't matter much because it's still, even at full health, it's still 5 shots to the weak point. Weakening it just makes parts break easier, so it helps if you don't actually hit the weak point every time. For the fight, all we need is the bandana and the M47. I don't have the bandana slotted for my endgame stuff because I use this set all through Zadornov. So the first thing that I'm going to do when the mission loads is switch to the bandana. Usually Zeke's in the middle of moving around, so switching is kind of free. For the fight, we just get 5 shots into the pod and the fight is over. Some important information. Once the pod is broken, it takes double damage, and breaking the head part will also count as breaking the pod. Right here is why I like the chrysalis head. When it's further away, just lock onto the body, and as long as it's straight onto you, the shot should go straight into the pod. And this is the 5th shot, so let's finish this fight out. Good luck and have fun. Time!
If anybody can handle something this big, it's you, boss.